Hey guys, this is Tom from Numbers Game Lifestyle, and today we're going to be talking about the statistics of cold approach. Okay, I kind of did a video on this that kind of touched on the topic. It was called Why You Get Rejected So Much in Cold Approach. But there's a key statistic that influences every man out there doing cold approach. And it was a massive survey and massive study done by Pew Research Center that found that young women between the ages of 18 to I think 30, only 1 in 5 were sexually available. Only 1 in 5 were actually looking and open to meeting men for dating, for relationships, for hookups, whatever. There were only 1 in 5 women in that market, in that demographic. So you have to keep that statistic in mind when you're out in the field doing cold approach, okay? Because like only 1 in 5 are actually going to be looking for what you're selling, which is yourself, okay? I know my personal, statistics, these are rough, numbers that I've broken down. And usually it takes me 1 in 6 to get a date. Meaning I have to, like if I'm doing completely cold approach, no choosing signals, no nothing. I just walk up to a girl at random or at a girl that I find attractive and she's not looking at me, giving me any kind of signals, and I start a conversation. There's a 1 in 6 chance that I end up going on a date with her, getting a date with her. Okay, so that's pretty accurate. I've never found myself in all my time doing this, I've never found myself going, getting long streaks of getting no dates. Usually it's like, I get rejected max amount like 5 times, and I usually find a date pretty soon after. And that's what the thing, like these numbers are completely random because a lot of the times you can go on streaks where it seems like every girl you talk to, you're getting a date with. Every girl you talk to is sexually available. Every girl that you talk to is into what you look like, attracted to you. And then you'll go through slumps where, you're getting tons of rejection. Not a lot of girls are sexually available. Every girl that you talk to is not sexually available, or they don't like the looks of you. Whatever it is, it goes and these numbers get rapidly fluctuating all the time because it's completely at random, right? Sometimes you'll get like a ton of, good things happening, and sometimes you'll get droughts where not a lot of things are happening. But keep these numbers in mind, right? I know that if I'm getting close to 6 rejections, there's a good chance I'm going to hit pay dirt and get a date pretty soon. This basically confirms that most of the time I'm passing the looks threshold of the women that I'm approaching. Because let's say 1 in 5 women are not interested, doesn't matter who I am, what I look like, how much money I have, how tight my game is. 1 in 5 women are not even interested in dating new men. And so my statistics are maybe 1 in 6, roughly 1 in 6 women, I get a date. If I approach 6 women, I'll get at least 1 date. And that's pretty accurate. That means that maybe the odd women doesn't find me attractive, or the odd women doesn't like the way I look, or anything like that. But it means that the sexually available women are most likely going to say yes to a date with me. That's what it breaks down. Now, what about for guys that are new at this? They haven't, looks max, done anything to, improve their attractiveness, or they're very new to cold approach. What can they expect? And this is something that you have to experiment with yourself. Get out in the field, go approach a bunch of women, and see what happens. From these statistics, you can figure out what is holding you back. For instance, let's just say you approached 30 women. Let's use an example. Let's say you approached 30 women and you didn't get any dates out of it. That means that you approached 6 women that were sexually available, single and ready to mingle, but for whatever reason, all 6 of these women weren't interested in dating you, weren't interested in meeting up with you. That could be a few things that are causing this problem. It could be a looks problem, like the product that you're presenting isn't up to par, not attractive enough for the demographic that you're after. It could be a million other things, but it means that 6 women were open to, having a relationship or meeting a guy on a date, but all 6 said no. And it could mean that your approach is really awkward and not attractive in the way that you present yourself. I know I get like stories from guys that are approaching, and a lot of the times they'll just run up and be like, "Hey, can I get your number?" Yeah, you're going to fail miserably with an approach like that. And that is that's not a problem of looks. That's just your overall approach is really terrible. But if you've got a decent, start a conversation, get to know her a little bit before asking her out, chances are it's not your game problem. It's not a conversation problem that's screwing you over. It could be you haven't improved your looks enough to be attractive to the demographic that you're after. But again, it's different for every guy. Some guys may have the looks, but their approach is really terrible. And I think for most guys, if they approach correctly, like they start a conversation, get to know her a little bit, introduce yourself and ask her out, generally, and they say no, and it's happening over and over again, like over 30 approaches in a row and no date, chances are you have to improve your looks, your presentation. Those are the statistics of cold approach. Now, what about choosing signals? What about if a woman gives you a signal, like she looks at you, stares at you, looks at you twice, smiles at you, whatever, any one of those signals, like hovers around you, gets in front of your view? What about those girls? Those improve your odds considerably. So instead of 1 in 6, usually it's about 1 in 4 will go on a date. At least that's with my experience. 1 in 4 of those girls that gives you a signal already is, you'll get a date with. And yes, why doesn't it guarantee? Why doesn't a girl look at you? She's looking at you all the time. Why doesn't that guarantee 100% date instead of the 25%? And the reason for this is even women that are in relationships that may not be super into the guy that they're with, but they're still not ready. They're not quite ready to cheat on the guy and, break up with them. So often those women will look at men that they find attractive, and sometimes they're not even thinking, right? They're just like, oh, that guy's attractive. And they just keep looking, even though they're not sexually available. So this is why 25%, 1 in 4 of the women, actually get out on a date. Then once you're on that date, it's up to your, game, your ability to convert and lead the way to getting laid or whatever it is you're after. These are the statistics of cold approach. They're actually very good, provided your looks are in order, you're above average, and you can approach like a normal human being. You're not just like, hey, what's your number? Hey, you're attractive. Hey, you're hot. What's your number? Dumb approaches like that. Actually take the time to start a conversation and introduce yourself. And even in that quick conversation, you can figure out if a girl's interested or not. May not be sexually available, maybe, whatever. As soon as you ask her out on a date, you'll know. She'll be like, oh no, I've got a boyfriend or whatever. Or she'll say yes. And I would say that 30 approaches is a good cutoff. If you're not getting any dates after 30 approaches, something is off. Something is off in your approach, the way you approach these women, or your looks, which I think is the majority of cases, because the majority of women, girlfriends, ex-girlfriends that I've had, the majority of guys that actually, shoot their shot really haven't put in the effort to, make the most of their looks and look attractive to women. And that's just the way it is. Both need to be in order. You have to shoot your shot and be better looking than average, okay? And yes, your attractiveness is well within your control, to be above most men out there, because most men do not put in any work into, looking good. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you need help doing this Whether that's getting dates, overcoming approach anxiety, getting laid, getting sexual abundance from cold approach, so you can go anywhere, anytime, and find women to date. I help guys do that. There's coaching links down below. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching.